Hey, Dom, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me.
Yeah, I saw it, and I saw a few episodes I watched. I was all, that's pretty cool, dude. I could totally relate.
Some of these things are fun to talk about.
Yeah,
Yes, and we can put it all in the context of your life story.
I
So
got you.
tell me, start at the beginning. Tell me like you were born in Albuquerque or where your
I,
parents came from
I
or
was
any of
born
that.
in
Okay, take it away.
I was born in Southern California, in San Bernardino, in Riverside.
Really?
1971. I ended up here in Albuquerque. My mom moved here right before I was born. My mother and my father together. My father died of a heroin overdose. My mom was going through had just had me, and he passed away prior to having me. So she
Wow.
was kind of going through that. We stayed in California until I was probably mm, 4 or 5. I can't quite remember. And we moved here. Her father was living here with his wife. It wasn't her mom. Her mom had died a long time ago, when she was much younger. We moved in with him with them when we first moved here, as I
Were they?
remember.
I
No, my mom was born on the East Coast.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and she moved to California back in the, I don't know, I would say 50s or 60s, because she was born in Virginia.
Okay.
And my my mother was American, my father was Mexican. He was born in Tijuana, but that was back then. It was in the 50s. It was like the borders weren't really a thing.
Yes.
You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? Back then,
Yes.
and they met in California. But then I was there, and I was born, and then we moved here, and then I grew up here, and I went to. Then when we first moved here, we were living over there by Windrock in my grandfather's house,
Okay.
and then she moved over here to by Kirtland, by in the Ridgecrest neighborhood, and then I went to Whittier. I went to Wilson, Whittier Elementary, Wilson Middle School. And then in Wilson, when I was in school, my seventh grade year, I believe, we moved to the North Valley. Because I had when I was like around 10 or 11, I got my first skateboard, right?
Okay.
I got I think it was a Vision Psycho stick. And I was skating on Ridgecrest. And my mom was at work. I had come home from school and I was skateboarding and I got ran over by a car and it broke my leg. And it
Where in
was
Ridgecrest? Like where?
right by. So there's Whittier Elementary, pretty much right up all there in the residential, all in the residential neighborhood right there. I got ran over right on Ridgecrest, broke my leg. It wasn't my fault. It went to litigation. We got money, and then my mom bought a house in the North Valley,
Good
and that's
girl.
how we moved to the North Valley. And
And
then
how old
I
were
was
you?
12. Well, I was 11 when it happened, and then we moved. I had to go. It was a pretty bad break. I had 2 or 3 surgeries. I still got pins in my legs.
Damn.
Yeah, and I went to Taft's Middle School then, and then I went to Valley High School. And then when I started getting to my teenage, I started becoming a little shithead. I went to Valley. I went to Albuquerque High. I went to Highland. I went to Freedom. I
Did you
went
get
to
kicked out at all of
where?
them?
Oh yeah, I would get kicked out all the time. Because I did dumb shit. I would set trash cans on fire, stuff like that.
So what inspired that? Were you like an angel up until one
Well,
day you
I
started?
got into punk rock at about 13 or 14 years old.
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
before that, being a good buddy of mine, Carlos, because we lived right down the street from each other in the North Valley. We were really into hip hop then, and
Okay.
his older brother, like we were into breakdancing and stuff,
Sure.
and his older brother was into punk rock, and his older brother gave us a tape and was like, "Hey, listen to this," and we were like either 12 or 13, I remember, because we were still in middle school, and we played the tape, and it was like, "Oh." this is awesome, dude. This is just, oh, this is great, dude. And it was like, then we started to see the fanzines and seeing flyers for shows around town because, then we began kind of hanging around UNM area. Like, my first show was at the Big Apple, the Descendants, and that was in like 1984, I think, And it was like, I was probably 14, 13 or 14 then, and that was my first show. But then from there, I've been a punk rocker I'm a lifer.
Were
And
you really?
but I've applied everything that I've learned, and punk rock can be a destructive lifestyle. It can be, and it's like I've lost a lot of friends. We've all lost a lot of friends, but there's plenty of positive things out of it too.
Oh, yeah.
You,
Well, yeah.
you,
Yeah.
you know, you go take the negativity, but I always was like PMA, positive mental attitude, everything for the
Positive
greater good. I got PMA tattooed on me. Come on.
PMA, positive mental attitude. Bad
Yes.
brains? The bad
Yes,
brains.
of
Yeah.
course, of course. The Godfathers in my mind.
I was just thinking that exact same. They changed history like
Yeah,
Black Sabbath or the Ramones. I mean,
exactly. They
they
changed
were
history. And, I grew up here and got all into the punk rock. And then in the 90s,
wait. I want to go back. I want to go back.
okay, let's go back.
Yeah. Were you really just like a happy-go-lucky skateboarding kid, or
I
were
was a
you?
skater kid, but I was angry. I was an angry kid.
So even it's just you and your mom and
Yeah,
siblings
I was a
type thing,
single. Yeah, I
and you.
have I have step siblings from my father's previous marriage
Okay.
before he met my mom.
But you
I
and your
have,
mom in Albuquerque, that's just the two of you?
yep,
Really? What
just
was
the
your
two of
mom
us.
doing? Your mom
My mom
working?
passed away.
But I mean, was she working, doing
Oh
what
yeah,
at
she
the
was
time?
working. My mom worked for a defense contractor.
Okay, so
My
an
mom worked.
Albuquerque thing.
Yeah, my mom worked for Lockheed Martin. She worked for Northrop Grumman. I used to give her a hard time about that shit when I was, you know, back in the day about, what you guys build is missile systems to bomb people. I was giving her a hard. She wasn't responsible for that, but that's what they did. You know what I'm saying? And I was, I'm not dumb. I read. And it's like I could pretty much figure out what you guys are doing.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, and then she had as a kid growing up here, like she did that for a long time, a very long time here. She had clearance to go onto the base. I would go onto the base and stuff. I got to see as a kid growing up here on Kirtland, I got to see some like where they tested some of these weapons, and
Me
whatnot.
too.
And
Me
it was
too.
cool to
Yeah.
see as a
Yeah,
kid,
it was.
It was
Yeah,
like, wow, this is
yeah,
really cool.
yeah.
And most people, you don't get to see this stuff, and it's like, I know exactly what goes on back
I do
there and
too.
everything, not
Yeah.
exact, but I know what they do here. And we
I've
grew up with
seen
this
it.
here.
Yeah.
Anybody who's naive about that, it's like, dude, come on. Look where you're living, my man.
Well, that'll inspire some punk rock, just knowing that you're.
Totally. Just that right there alone.
Isn't that a big argument for the Washington D.C. punks? Is there like who's was a minor threat is like the kids of bureaucrats in DC.
Yep. Yep.
I like my history.
Yes.
Anyway, going back, you're a little shit, and then you become like a violent little shit because punk rock is a violent weapon to
Yeah, it
give to a
was
12-year-old kid. So you
exactly.
just
And back
ran
then it
away.
was pretty violent. I mean, we had shows here, but the shows would always be moved around because club owners and whatnot are gonna be like, yo, dude, you guys can't be doing that shit here no more, man. Some places were like a one and done, one show and that's it. We're done. No more. I remember going to shows here in the 80s and at an MDC show down the South Valley, and halfway through the show, here comes Bernalillo County Sheriff's rolling 30 deep, and they
Yeah.
shut down the show, and people came outside and threw bottles at them and everything, and then they came back with riot shields and everything. That was punk rock back then. It was like, yeah, dude, that shit happens, and it was exciting. You know, for me back then, I thought, yeah, fuck authority, fuck you, motherfuckers. Who are you to say? You know, and it's like we were just a bunch of kids. We weren't hurting nobody. There may have been some underage drinking. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
nobody was getting hurt. You know,
No.
and it was something constructive, and it was something positive for us to do. You know,
Well, the
instead of
shows would
being
have been better. The shows would have been partying with each other instead of fighting in the street.
exactly, and it was like there was always, you know, they were punk rock shows, but there was always security or policing, you know, policing yourself, you know, because that's how it was back then. You would circle pit and whatnot. Someone falls down, you
Yes.
pick them
Yes.
up, dude, you know,
Yes.
and that's what everybody did. It was just you. That's what was expected of you, you know.
But the cops hated you and
Oh
society
yeah,
hated
they didn't
you.
like none of that. They hated all that aspect just because of our appearance, you know.
So you and Carlos get turned on to punk rock
At a
and you
very
just
young age.
at a very young age. Were you considered the young ones on the scene? Was this
Oh
like
yeah.
Big
Oh
Ed
yeah.
and Ray and all the older guys
That
who
and
were
like
or
Steve Island. Steve
yeah.
Island was the janitor when I went to my high school. Me and Carlos, he was the janitor at Valley High School for us.
No.
Yes.
No.
And it was like when we started high school, we were like, me and Carlos were like, we see him at shows. He's always at the punk shows, dude. And he was like, you little shits. He would give us a hard time, you know. They gave us a hard time, but they all looked out for us. You know, it was like after that first show that I went to, because my uncle took me there and dropped me off. He's like, I'm not picking you up though. You know, my mom was out of town, and he was like, I'll take you to this show, and he's like, but I'm not picking you up. You find a way back home. And he was living way up in the heights, you know. And I was like, all right, I'll get a ride home. And after the show, I met Big Ed at the show. And he was like, hey, you want to go to a party? I was like, yeah, I want to go. And we went to a party down at the nursery.
Okay.
And we went to the nursery, and there were all the older punks like Joey Abbott, you know, the Nunneries. Uh, you had Mike Passman. Who else was there? There was so many, but they were all older. They were all in their 20s. I remember that, you know. And there was Scott Wilder, but they were all there. It was cool, you know. And they let us hang out and drink beers, but it was like you knew not to fucking fuck around. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, don't fuck around, you know. They'll be cool to you, but don't fuck around. Don't fuck up, you know. And then it just became friendship from years and years of going to shows, you know? And it's like I'm still great friends with all the ones that we still have left. You know what I'm saying?
I do. I do. Wow. What'd you do to get kicked out of all these high schools?
Oh, like in Valley, I would set the trash cans on fire, and they had just had enough. They had had enough of it. You know, it was just one thing after another. I would set one time I was ditching class and I went into because it was a 2-story building, so I went upstairs and set the trash cans on fire. You know, and that they everybody got out of class for that one. The fire alarms went off. You know, and then one time I broke in there after during nighttime and trashed it a little bit and got caught by the police. You know, and it was like, yeah, I got put on probation and whatnot. I was a pretty bad juvenile delinquent. I went to jail quite a bit. Um, I went to Springer. I did a 2-year commitment.
Wow.
Yeah,
Aw.
yeah, and I was, you know, I did some, you know, I got it out of my system. I'm glad
Good.
I did, you know.
Yeah.
But once I became an adult, it was like, nah, dude, don't fuck around like that anymore. You know, don't do that. You know, I party and whatnot, but I don't party like it's not an addiction thing for me. You know, it's like I can take it or leave it. You know.
When you're not going out looking for somebody to fight with to take out all your aggression.
Sometimes, but sometimes they just came to you. You know, being a punk rock back then, I was like, "Why you dressed that way, you faggot?" You know, I was like, I like to tell people like, "Oh, you're an old dude." It's like, yeah, it was punk rock when it was called "Hey Faggot." You
Yeah.
know, that's what it was. It was like,
Forgot about that.
why you dress that fucking way, queer? You know, it's like, fuck you, dude. I dress this way because I fucked your mom. You know, and it was like growing that back then. You know, people, jocks and stuff would roll by on Central and tell you that shit, you know? And eventually you get tired of that and you learn to fight back and you learn. Albuquerque taught me how to fight. And it did. It's like you're gonna learn how to fight, otherwise you're gonna get stomped. So figure it out. What do you want to do here? And you get tired of getting beat up or punched, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna punch back. And
And
sometimes you become good at it, and I did. And that's what got me in trouble was because I became good at it.
oh, okay. I suppose
And
that's a
yeah,
that's
back then the laws were a lot different than they were now. It seems like because I was like, I remember being a juvenile, and if I did some boom, they locked me up right away. And then it was like I was on probation for so long as a juvenile. Anytime something went wrong in my neighborhood, they came to my house and picked me up and would take. I remember one time I was home. I got home from school when I went. I got home from school and I just got home. I was sitting on the couch and the doorbell rings. And
it's
I
the
look
cops.
outside. No, it was the cops with my probation officer. And I was all, what's up?
Yeah.
And they were like, hey, there was a robbery at the Circle K on 4th Street. And they kind of described you. I was like, dude, I just got home from school. I've been here. You can talk to the school. And they're like, can you just come and take, are you
So
kidding me right now? So I went with them
and
and
they
I
said it
went to the
wasn't you.
Circle K and the clerk came out and they're, nah, that's not him. And I was all, you see? But then I learned. I learned from that. It's like, dude, and my mom always told me, don't get in the system. Once you're in the system, they can fuck you for any little thing, even you, though you weren't involved in it. And I've learned that, and I've totally, yeah, don't fuck,
Don't get in the system.
yeah, just stay away. Stay away from them. And don't give them any reason to come talk to you at all. Period.
I tell my kids not to even miss class. Like you just don't give them any reason to even notice that you exist.
Yeah. Don't stay under the radar. Don't be on the radar. And back then I was all over the radar.
Because you were having fun, because it was fun to kick shit and break shit, or because
Yeah,
you were
and then there
mad,
some of it
or
was like I was defending myself. I felt like I'm standing up for myself. And other times it was like I felt like I saw someone being bullied. It was like, fuck you, dude. What's up? I'm not gonna stand here and watch you do that. Fuck you. I'll do something about it.
well, isn't that what it turned into? It was the punk rockers protecting the world.
Exactly. Exactly. Because it's like when you have punk rockers telling you you fucking up, dude. You know what I'm saying? Because back then, we were the kings of fucking up, dude.
Well, you were so good at it. You looked good at
Yeah,
it
I
too.
was so good at it,
You
I was
were
like
great at it.
getting stupid because you know how, dude.
There was some pretty bad shit too.
Oh, yeah. And I learned from that too. It's like the violence. It's like, it's like I had a temper, a very bad temper. And you got to learn to control your temper, dude. And as I got older and stuff, it's like, yo, dude, it's not worth it. It's not. That's not. Pick your battles, dude. Pick your battles. That's one. Just let it slide. Let it slide. Walk away. Just
Was
walk
that
away
like
from it.
was that like going to Springer kind of teaches you that? You don't want to be
Yeah.
an adult and go to jail?
Yeah. Exactly. And when I got out, because I got out, I was an adult, and it was like, don't fuck up. Don't fuck up, because now if you keep doing what you were doing, you're going to go to prison. And I was like, I don't want to go to prison. I don't plan on going to prison. It's like, nah, nah, nah. That, I don't know. I got other things that I want to do.
Well, you young men that I knew, as much as you like to raise hell, you're all smart enough to be like, yeah, I don't need to go to prison. I'm not
Yeah.
stupid.
I don't need to do that. I don't want to do that. I got other things that I can do. And that's when I really got into cooking after that. And I really got into cooking.
That's awesome. Your
Yeah.
friends have been very proud of you for a long time.
Yeah, it's like I did it. I did it. I was a partner in a couple restaurants in New York City, man. It's like I went to culinary school, graduated, worked my ass off in Manhattan, and it was I loved every minute
I
of it.
bet it was awesome. I bet it
It
was.
was fucking awesome, dude. It was awesome.
Save all that though. Go back and tell us some shit from all these parties and shows and violence on the street.
It was just the shows were awesome. because I saw so many great bands here. I saw Agnostic Front. I saw Black Flag. I saw the Circle Jerks. I saw the Weirdos. I saw GBH, and that they all had to pass through here because we were that hub city, to go through anywhere else. So it was great to see all those shows and all those bands. I still go to shows to this day. I went to saw the Dwarves the other night,
Yeah,
and that was fun. It was a good time. It's like I still
absolutely.
support and I still support the younger bands and whatnot. I still like it. I still buy records. I'm a total record nerd. I have,
Really?
dude, I have such a collection. It's insane. It's insane. It's like probably 3,000 LPs, and then probably like, those comic book boxes?
Yeah.
Okay. I have 10 of those filled with, so I'm like, and I have all the original records from back
Oh my
then.
gosh. Oh my
From back
gosh.
then.
Oh
I
my
still have
gosh.
everything. It's an archive. I've told my kids, I've told them, you know, when I pass,
That's what's important.
this is all yours. What you do with it, I really hope you wouldn't sell it, but because it's an archive, it's a
Yeah.
history, you know.
Oh my
But
gosh.
what you
Very
do
much
with it
so.
is up to you. And it's like I told my son, you could go on Discogs and look at some, and I have those records, and some of those records are worth quite a bit of money, dude. I even freak out. I'm like, really? That's worth that much now? Wow.
It should be though. It was important. So
Yes.
it's you and Carlos and the older crew. Then did the rest of your friends start gathering, you guys getting together?
Oh, we started getting together when we were teenagers, and then when I was when I wasn't in jail, it was like out or whatnot. But I remember at one point, all of us were in jail at one point or another, but with each other. And it was like, hey,
Damn.
buddy, you know. But yeah, it was like that's what it was. But even after I got out of jail, we all hung out and stuff. After. I
So
was work. That's when I was started working in restaurants and whatnot.
when
But
was
we would
the
hang out, and then I started playing music. I started playing in a band, and then
yeah,
I
of
started
course.
playing shows and whatnot.
That's it.
And it was awesome. It was great. And then I just carried on with that. I still have all my gear in the when this is Albuquerque back then, but even when I left here to New York, I jammed in many of bands there.
I
But
bet
it
you
was
did.
like I started playing music here in Albuquerque because of punk rock. Because it was like, yeah, you can play music. And I started to learn. It was like, yeah, dude. And it was like cooking. At that point, cooking and music were like, boom, that's my jam, dude.
And
Let's
so
do this.
this is after you turn 18, so like
This
88,
is like when I was,
90.
yeah, 18, 19.
So 88, 90.
It was probably 88, 89, 90, you know?
So you
And
start
then it
getting
was like,
better.
yeah. And then it was like the bands that I was in here, we recorded a record and put it out. It was a compilation called Albuquerque Shitcore. And it had Word Salad on there and a few other
Okay.
bands from here. And Richard Agee and Mike Bobroff were the ones who financed it, I remember. Because Richard Agee was there when we were recording it. And that was fucking awesome. And I see that on Discogs and it's only $3.
It's only $3. Now into the knees. Before you go to New York, are things going good? Are you
They're going good for me. They're going
really?
good for me. I'm just working and playing music pretty much.
So your bad
And
days are behind you by the
yeah,
time
it
you're
was like I was
18.
done with all
Oh,
that by the time I was like 19, 20 years old, 21. I got in a few fist fights when I was 20. One that was kind of bad. And it wasn't, I didn't start the fight. I finished the fight. It was pretty violent. I was right after I'd gotten out of jail. A few people went to the hospital. None of my crew went to the hospital. People on the receiving end, the receiving crew went to the hospital.
I bet they did.
Half of our crew that was there all got to ride downtown, and I got all my clothes taken for evidence.
Because there's blood all over them.
Oh, yes. and they took all my clothes for evidence. And then they find out someone had pulled out a gun, and it wasn't us. What happened? I took the gun and I took it back, and I proceeded to beat them with their own gun.
It sounds like
And
something you would do.
I kept the gun. So when the cops came, I said,
This
"There's
is
the
the gun.
gun." Because when they came to the apartment, I told everybody, sit down, open the door, let them come in. I had the gun right there. I said, "That's the gun."
Yeah.
They pulled out a gun on us, and that's where I went. And they took my clothes, but then after when it was all said and done, that same night, they took me home to my mom's house, and they were like, nothing ever came of it.
Nothing ever came of it.
No,
Was that a turning point for you?
yeah, because that was
You're
and
an
even
adult.
because they had to pull them off, they had to pull me off of them, and they were
Yeah.
like, "Dude, you got to stop." And I was like,
You
"Yeah."
don't lose your shit. You just,
I
when it
kind of
goes,
lost
it
it. Well,
goes.
it was like switch flipping to where I don't even remember the beating. I remember them pulling me off of them. And it was like, you lost your shit, dude. You can't do that, dude. You can't do that, And I get it. There was a gun being pulled, and it was like he did try to shoot me because he squeezed the trigger and it jammed.
Damn.
Yeah. And I took the gun and beat him close, almost to death with it.
This
But,
is 1990.
or 1989, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I know it was in the paper. I don't remember. I mean, I saw a clipping that it was like third or fourth page in, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And it just said some violence happened at these apartments, blah, blah. People were arrested, but they were let go because self-defense. So that was where I was like, yo, dude, you have to stop with that. You need to, that's not going to be good.
Yeah, you're an adult now,
Not
and
good
it's
for
just
me. Not
no.
good for anybody. And then shortly after that, I had my son. So that kind of put things in perspective.
Was the late 80s and 90s? Late 80s and 90s got pretty bad in Albuquerque.
Yep.
Started
And that's, yeah. And then I
losing friends.
left. Yeah. People started fucking up real good, I remember. And it was like, nah, I don't want to be a part of that whole scene like that. So I kind of went this way instead of going that way.
Was it a drug scene? Was just the drugs changed in the
The drugs
90s?
too, dude. Is like I didn't want to partake in that. It was like the particularly the mess. The mess, and it was like, nah, dude. And it's like, don't get me wrong, I dabbled, and then I was like, no, nah, dude, nah. That's nah. It's too. I like to sleep. I'm sorry. I like to sleep, and it
Well,
was like when I start seeing tweakers and friends of mine become tweakers, I'm like,
yeah,
fuck no, dude. You're
no,
paranoid out of your fucking mind,
yeah,
dude. You know
yeah.
this?
It never seemed like fun to me either.
That's where I was like, nah, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, no. I don't want to do that. It's like, nah, it's not, that's not. And I'm glad I didn't partake, because I know some people who they went down a rabbit hole, dude. And some
It
of them
did.
never made it.
No. No, or some of them it just got worse and worse or different or
Exactly.
whatever. It morphed into many different things. Your son saved you from that too, because while
Yeah.
the 90s are getting started and it's like crack and heroin and there's lots of shows at that point though, right?
Oh, yeah, dude. A lot of, and the band that I was in, we played a lot of great
So
shows
you're
then.
playing
Yeah,
shows.
we
Well, that'll
played a
keep you
lot
out
of
of
great
trouble.
shows.
That'll
Yeah,
keep you
it
out of
was
trouble,
fun.
dude.
It was fun, dude. Fun as fuck. It was like, I remember, I mean, we were used to playing like little, punk rock shows. And I remember we had a show at the El Rey with Sleep
Damn.
and Hawkwind.
Damn.
And it was like, wow. And we got up on that stage and it was like, holy shit, you're way over there, dude. What's up, buddy?
You're not standing like shoulder to shoulder.
And it was awesome. It was great. And then we played another show. We were fairly good. It was me, Brian Banks, this guy Dwight, my buddy Jesse, and we were playing like crusty doom stuff. And then we opened for Neurosis at sunshine. That was awesome, you know. So it was cool, man.
I think that's great.
Played, yeah, and we played some shows out of town, so that was fun. It was a good time.
But then you decided to move.
Well, then I okay, I got divorced
Okay.
from my first wife, and
Okay.
then I was sous chef at the Monte Vista Fire Station. That was a long time ago. I met this waitress we had from New York, and we became boyfriend girlfriend. And I moved to New York to go to culinary school. She was pushing me. She was like, "You should really go." And a good friend of mine, a chef here, Dave Kaufman, who I worked for at the time, because I left Monte Vista, and then I was at. That's where me and her met. But then I was at Avalon downtown. It was a big restaurant, and I was working with Dave Kaufman there, and he was like, "You're a good line cook, dude." He was like, "You should go to school." And he like he told me where he went to school, and she was pushing me to go. So I wrote an essay, and I sent it, and they're like, "We'll accept you, but you got to bring up some of your math." You know, I hadn't been in school for a minute, you know. So I went to TBI and took a math class, and they're like, "Boom, you're good," and they accepted me, and I moved to upstate New York in who was it, 95 or 96, I believe.
State, not the city.
Not the city, in Poughkeepsie, because the Culinary Institute of America is in Hyde Park.
Okay.
So, and Poughkeepsie's right there. So we moved there to Poughkeepsie, and moving from here to there that was a whole nother thing. That was a whole like, holy shit, dude. You know, I came from the desert, you know, and moving to upstate New York in the wintertime.
Oh no.
Wow.
It's really
Dude,
cold there. Like
oh, dude,
really
snow up
cold.
to your waist. Snow up to your waist. And we were right along the Hudson River, just blocks of ice.
No.
And I was like,
Like
holy
wow.
shit, where did you bring me? Minus 15, dude? What's going on? And it was like, fuck it, I'm here to learn, you know? And I went to school, graduated. And when I was in school, I did my externship in Manhattan at a Japanese restaurant. And I went, I worked there for 6 months. And then you had to go back. Part of the schooling was you got to go out and work and then go back to school and finish the program. And then you graduate. And I graduated in the like 2 days before I graduated, the chef called me back. And she's like, "I know you're graduating from there very quick, better like within a couple of days." She knew she had graduated from there. And she had worked for Nobu in London. She had helped open Nobu London. So she was like, "I want you back. I'm going to start training you as my sous." And I was like, "Okay." So I took the job and I started working there, you know. And then by that time, once I graduated, we moved to Brooklyn. So I was living in Brooklyn then, and I was working in Manhattan, and just that was a whole, you know. And when I wasn't in school there, like on the weekends, I would come down to the city and whatnot, you know, because I was going to CBGBs and shit then, dude. It was like, yeah, I'm at the Mecca of
Yeah.
punk rock, dude.
Yeah.
This is Mecca. If you're into punk rock, this is Mecca. This is where it all started, dude.
Yeah.
The Ramones, Talking Heads, everything.
Yeah.
Everything started here, you know? So it was like I was going to shows there and catching matinees and shit, dude. And that
Okay.
was like, yeah, dude. And then I began working at that restaurant. That restaurant was literally right around the corner from CBGB's.
No shit.
It
This
was
is
right on Bond Street. And it
this
was
is
like,
really cool for you.
it was fucking tits, dude. I was so, and then working in that restaurant. I worked there. I started from the, you know, garde manger, and I became chef de cuisine there. I worked there for 9 years. But the
Damn.
time I was there working there, it became a Michelin star spot, you know, and that was just intense. But the Ramones came in, and I
No.
cooked for the
No.
Ramones. Yes,
No.
and they
No.
called me out to the
Oh
table,
my god.
and I came out to the table, and I was like, I still have the ticket in a box that I cooked for the Ramones. I was like, yes, dude,
In the
yes.
90s? In the
Yes,
like with
when they
Joey
were all
too?
still alive, Joey used to call up and make his own reservations.
So I
Yes,
know you are a legend. You do have the best
It
stories.
was awesome, dude. It was like, yes, dude. And then just working there, it was like, dude, I would do we would go to the CEO of Vanity Fair, this guy Graydon Carter. He's the CEO of Vanity Fair, and I would cook like he would have a dinner party, right, with guests, and they would sit at his dinner table in his kitchen, and it'd be like me and a sushi chef because where I worked was a Japanese restaurant, and I would do the hot items, the sushi chef make the cold. But the guests that would come, there was Oscar de la Renta, there was one of the Kennedys, there was Larry David. Like when Larry David was there and all the stuff they were sitting around talking about, I was like, dude, I was cooking, and Larry David was, dude, I forget what that show, Curb Your Enthusiasm, he is just like that in real life, dude. It
Really?
was like, it was just spot on. Just the wittiness. John Cougar Mellencamp was there. It was craziness. I'm like, check this out. I am cooking for all these people, dude. This is awesome,
You
dude.
cooked for
You
the
know?
Ramones. Dom, you cooked for the Ramones. For the
Yes,
man that you are and
dude. And
just
then I cooked one
everything you believe in, everything you've done, that's
later
so
on
cool.
when I became a partner in the restaurants. I cooked for David Byrne, Talking Heads. He called the restaurant. He called the restaurant. I saw on the caller ID David Byrne. I was all,
Yeah,
I answered. I was all, just do that, man. Help you. He's like, hey, because it was a first come first serve. It was set up like a sushi bar, and it was in the East Village, right by Tompkins Square Park, and it was only 22 seats, and it was just set up like a sushi. It was a cevicheria oyster bar, and we had another location in Brooklyn, which was bigger. But the one in the East Village, I always worked at that one. I trained everybody for Brooklyn, but that one was mine. It was yeah, I'm there. That's my spot, and he called and I told my bar back, David Byrne's gonna come in, dude. He's all, fuck out of here. And I was all, fucking watch, dude. And sure enough, 15 minutes later, he comes riding up on a bike
really.
with his girlfriend in a big polka dot suit, a polka dot suit with big shoulders. He walked in and I fucking I looked at my bar back like, motherfucker, I told you, dude. I told you this. Yep. And I was all, there's two right there. And he sat down. I fed him. And it was like, he asked for his check. I went and gave him his check and I just slid it to him. I said, dude, I'm a huge fan, dude. You know, he's all, I'm a huge fan too. That was awesome. And it was like, and then other people like sitting there kind of realized, but I was always very like, don't blow up. If a celebrity is in here,
Yeah,
don't blow up their spot.
don't
Don't
freak
blow it
out.
up and don't be, well, people started like notice. And I was like, I'll shoot people a look like,
Be cool.
let him pay, let him leave. You want a fanboy, do that outside. Don't do that in here, because this is supposed to be what we're doing. We're food, and this is what's it. He can feel comfortable in here, and he shouldn't have to be dealing with that. And it was, I was like David Byrne, the Ramones. I'm like, yeah, dude, yes.
Just feel proud that you did it, that you just cooked for them. Because
It
that's
was
just
awesome.
cool. Circles of life, circles
Yeah,
of life. You're a big
and
fan
but
of
it was like
something.
just with that, dude, being said, okay, Bad Brains, right? I saw Bad Brains, the original lineup at CBGB's, right? And then me and my roommate drove down to DC one year because they were having like a salad days thing for this movie about Discord Records. And I got to see Scream, Government Issue, Youth Brigade,
Damn.
DC Youth Brigade, Black Market Baby, all the old DC bands. Ian McKay was there, but me and my buddy, my roommate, are at the bar, right? We're getting a beer, we're getting a shot. HR from Bad Brains walks up, and I'm wearing a New York hat. And he's all, my brothers. And I was all, what's up? And I was all, Char, let me buy you a shot. He's all, yes. And it's like, we're doing shots with HR, my guy. What's up, dude? This is great from the back. Yes, dude. The experiences I had there for that, I was just like, dude, I'm hanging out with HR. This is great. And HR, he's out of his mind. And all the drugs come on, dude. But it was like, he was still such a cool guy. He came up, he was very nice, respectful guy. What's up, my brothers? We hung out, hugs, all around, had a couple shots. It was great. It was like, dude, this is awesome. I love New York. The experiences there, it was such a great time. It was like, I love New Mexico too. It's like they're two completely
Yeah,
different
yeah, yeah,
spectrums,
yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like, I love both. It's like, I love New York. I miss it terribly. Will I go back to live? No. I will go back to
Oh,
visit, no problem. But I'm not going to live no more. The hustle there is real, my friend. And I hustled. I'm an older guy now. And it's like, dude, I still have a lot of intensity, but I want to eventually I'm going to open my own place. It's like I'm going to do something here. I want to do something here. Because just when I moved back here, I moved back during the pandemic. I closed my restaurants in New York. I had to. It was bad there. Yeah.
is
I
that why
told
you
my
came
partners,
home? Oh,
yeah, I moved. Well, my mom was getting older, and it was like, dude, I can't. I was sitting there waiting for a maybe. We couldn't open our restaurant. And it was like, dude, how long? This is going on 8 months now, dude. I'm just sitting here, not making any money. Bills are piling up, dude. What's going on? I told my partners, cash me out, dude. And I got cashed out, and I paid my rent, and what bills I had, and I said, I have some money left over. I'm like, my mom was like, just come back home, mijo, come home. And I was like, all right, you're getting older. I'm going to come back. So I came back, and it was like, but then here, because before I left New York, nothing was open there, and there were no jobs. I mean, there were jobs, but, pizza, fast food stuff. I came from fine dining. It was a totally different beast.
and completely closed.
Pizzerias were open and like Chinese takeouts were open, but that
But
was it.
no,
You know what I'm
no, fuck
saying?
no.
Because they were already geared up for that. That's what they do. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So they survived no problem. The higher end, small mom and pop fine dining places, a lot of them closed. And a lot of chefs left, dude. It's like, nah, I can leave and I'll go do that somewhere else where it's going to be a lot cheaper. And I don't have to kill myself as much. And
I've literally seen
before I left,
documentaries about this, Dom. Like chefs, that killed businesses in New
yeah, it
York.
killed it. And it was like, it's still not going to come. Like, I've been back to visit, and it's like, New York is not going to come back to the way it was. It's going to take, at least 20 years, I think, just from what I saw there when I left, dude. It was like
It'll be
whole
different.
blocks. Yeah, it was like, and, a lot of small business like that, it's like, I can't survive with the rent you're trying to charge me here, dude. What are you doing, man? You know? It's
I
like, I'm
can't
just going to gouge
imagine
your
how
rent.
expensive.
It's
I can't
gentrifying everything,
imagine.
That's what they're doing.
I
And it's
can't
like, you can,
imagine.
yeah, it's ridiculous. But
So
I
you
go
came
back,
back.
and
Yeah,
I came
came
back,
back.
I moved back. But prior to me leaving there, I saw stuff was open out here. Like restaurants were open because I started looking for a job out here. And I
Wow,
was
and New
like,
Mexico was closed down
yeah,
for a long time
because
too.
you guys didn't have it as with New York, everything's stacked on top of each other. It was
Okay,
like I knew 10
okay.
people there personally who all got COVID and died. Dude. Died.
Because
All
you're
younger than
so
me.
close.
And
Everybody on
all
the street.
all of them in the service industry, dude. And I was like, this is fucked, dude. And that,
Wow.
yeah. And it was weird. But
Wow.
they were open. You guys had restaurants open here, not for in dining, but for takeout.
Okay.
And I was like, whatever, dude. I fucking need a job when I get back. And it was like, I started looking and there were people hiring chefs here. So I applied. I sent some resumes. And they're like, oh, we'll hire you, dude. I said, all right, well, I'm not back yet, but I'd like to quarantine when I get back because I'm giving you a heads up. I'm coming from New York, and I don't
Yeah.
know if you want me rolling up in your stuff right away. I don't have a problem with it, but you may have a problem with it.
So this is early on, like early,
Yeah,
like still early in COVID.
exactly. So I came
Okay.
back here, and I was a buddy of mine who I grew up with here, Jace, he had recently moved back like years before from LA. And he had recently got a house in Tijeras. Because while the whole pandemic was kicking off, he was calling me in New York. He's all, dude, if you need somewhere to go, to get out of there. He's all, I got you.
Yeah.
He's all, I got a
Yeah.
room here. You can stay here, dude. And I was
Yeah.
like, we'll see how it goes here, dude. Let me feel this out. It's like, because that shit's some scary shit there, what I saw. I was like, fuck no, dude. This is fucked what I saw, dude. It was fucked.
It
I mean,
was really as
just for an
bad as they say it
example,
was.
I was living in Brooklyn, Me and my roommate came down. Everything's closed except for the bodegas or the supermarket or the takeout or pizzeria, right? So we're coming down to smoke a cigarette on the stoop. We sit down. We see a white van pull up. These guys get out in hazmat suits. They go into a building and they start pulling out bodies. People who had died in their apartments from COVID because they lived alone. So we're watching them pull out bodies and put them in this van. You know what I'm saying?
Like
And
a
we
whole
both looked at each
building's
other,
worth.
and it was like, dude, this movie sucks. I told him. We all know the outcome of this movie, bro. It sucked.
Oh, I'm
And it
so
was like,
proud of you. What a good time to
yeah,
come home.
yeah. And it was
Yeah.
like, and I stuck it out for as long as I could,
How
because
long?
then they were saying
When
they
did
were
you move?
8 months, and they were telling us, well, maybe everything can open up on this date. Nah, then people started getting again. And it's like, no. I said, I can't wait around. I gotta go. I gotta go. So I came back, and I had got a job offer. And I said, I'll take it, but let me quarantine. But then after quarantine, I started working, you know. And I noticed here, just from me when I left to me coming back, there were a lot more restaurants. There were a lot more people more open minded to trying other things. You know what I'm saying? Than just the typical New Mexico, red, green, we got you. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Don't get me
No, but
wrong. That's what I love that still to this
yeah.
day. I just went out for lunch on my birthday. I had green chili chicken enchiladas. That's what I wanted, with a fried egg on top, dude. If you
Yeah.
know, you know. If you don't, you'll never get it.
Yeah. But there is a lot of new cuisine in Albuquerque
And
and
there's a
the
lot of good
Tri-State.
chefs here too now that since
I've
I've been
heard.
back, I'm like, yes, yes, you're doing cool shit. You're doing cool shit. That's cool shit. I like that. That's what
Art.
I like to see. Yes, it's art. I fucking
Yeah.
love art.
Yeah.
It's like I have it on my walls. I have it on my body. I make it on a plate. Come on, dude.
Well, it's cool on a plate too. Like that's just another form of art, and you guys
It's
in
the expression of
Albuquerque.
the chef of this is who the
Yeah.
chef is. This is what it is.
Yeah. Well, in
I was the
Albuquerque,
type.
the chef's usually pretty wild dude.
Yeah. And it was like, you know, I believe, a menu that's it's a personal item from the chef. You don't go into a restaurant and be like, can I get it like this and this and this? No,
No,
I'm
no, I
sorry.
agree.
I'm
Good
sorry.
for you.
If you
I
want those, there
agree.
are restaurants that do that.
Yeah.
You can go to those restaurants. But
Yeah.
when you go to a higher end restaurant and there's only like maybe 12 items on a menu, let it fucking be
Yeah.
and go with it. You know what
Trust
I'm
the
saying? Because
professionals.
that's why everything on that menu is gonna be spot on. I guarantee it, dude. I guarantee it.
Trust the professionals.
Yes, and it's like let us trust me. Let me
Oh,
feed you, dude.
I would trust you.
Let me feed you. I got you. Are you allergic? That was the first thing. Like people would come into my restaurant, they'd be like, what should I get? And I'd be like, what do you like? What do you don't like? What allergies do you have? Are there any? If you're not allergic to anything, let me just feed you.
Yeah.
And we just start with say 3 courses. If you want to go more, then we can do that. But we'll start with 3, and if you want to go more after that, then we'll go more after that.
Is that what
So
you
I would
want
do that.
out of your own place? Is that what you want
What's
your own
that?
place? Is that what you would like your own
Yeah,
place
that's
to
what I
be?
want out of my own place. And I want a smaller place, like say maybe 40, 50 seats. You know what I'm saying? And I would like a somewhat open kitchen, you know? And I would like to do more like, have you ever heard of an izakaya?
No.
Izakaya is more like, it's kind of like Japanese bar food. It's
Okay.
smaller plates, but
Okay.
say just a little bit more upscale. But do izakaya style, but you can use local ingredients and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would do. That's what I would try to, you know, there's plenty of farms here. There's plenty
Oh
of
my
farms that
gosh.
have
Yeah.
plenty of good product here. I've worked with some of it, and I'm like, I could incorporate that and make this high end. Trust me, dude. That's
Where
what
would you put
eventually
it?
I want to get to.
Where would you put it?
That's another thing. That's the location here. See, I live in Nob Hill.
Okay.
and there's cool shit over here, But I'm like, I've looked at some stuff here. I'm like, what is the rent here, dude? And I'm like, I'm sure they're trying to charge milk these people over here, dude. Because I've looked at apartments over here, and I'm like, you want 1,200 for a studio? Are you nuts? I'm like, this isn't New York, dude. New York, like that's what you pay. This is Albuquerque, New Mexico, bro. This should be like $800, dude. What are you doing? Who comes in here? Like, no wonder why the building's half empty. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on. I got a studio that I live in here, $700.
Wow. Have you been there a long
Yep.
time?
I've been here since I moved back. I stayed
Wow.
with my buddy for a little bit at Tijeras, and I found this, and I was all, Nob Hill. I was all, I know this area very well.
Yes,
I
you
was like,
do.
I
Yeah.
know this. I used to stomp around here as a kid, dude.
Yeah.
I know this area very well. I was like, oh, this is like a glove to me, bro. I know all this neighborhood, dude. And it was like, in New York, it was funny because when I looked at the apartment here, in New York, when you go to look at apartments, you walk in with the money in your pocket, right? Like
Really? You
that way
need to
you
like
say,
throw down some cash.
yeah, because they'll be showing apartments and there'll be other people waiting in the hallway and be like, no, I got money. I'll take this apartment right now, right? So I came in here, I saw the apartment, I thought, the same thing's got to apply here, man. Come on. I,
It
I
doesn't
told the
work
guy, I
that
like
way.
it, I'll take it. I pull out the money, the guy's all, hey, what are you doing? I was all, what do you mean, what am I doing? I'm giving you some money for this apartment. He's all, oh, no, we got to go to the office and we got to do this. And I was all, do you want to rent the apartment? Yes or no, dude? I was all, I got cash right here, right
Let's
now,
do
dude.
this.
He's all, no. I said, in New York, that's how we do it, dude. I was like, I've been gone for a minute from here, but I'm ready to go, dude. What's up? I'll move in tomorrow, dude.
That's funny. It's like New York had an even more punk rock influence
Yeah.
on you.
And then I remember when I moved back, my mom was like, Dominic, you got to slow down a little bit here, And I was like, and I get it because I totally get it, It's like the the New Yorkers are kind of impatient, It's not like we're not. It's not being rude. It's just that I have shit to do, dude. We talk. You talk fast. I lived in New York for 25 years. That shit rubbed off on me, and it's like, yo, dude, let's go, chop chop. You know, chop chop. Let's go. Like 95
Yeah.
till
Yeah.
2000.
Yeah. I lived on the East Coast for like 5 years and it was perfect. Like everybody's
Where
just
did you
getting
live?
their shit done in Pittsburgh.
I love Pittsburgh, dude.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. I have so many friends in Pittsburgh, dude.
Really?
I go to in Pittsburgh. They have this punk fest
Oh,
every
yeah.
year called Skull Fest, and it's
Okay.
4 days. I go. I've been. I didn't go this year. It starts next month because I
Okay.
just took on a new job. So I was like,
Not
I
this year.
can't go. I'm just.
Yeah.
I went to another punk fest in LA last year. So I was like, I'm not going this year. But the 3 years prior, I went. I went every year. It's
Where
like
do
I
they
love
have it?
Pittsburgh.
Where do they have
They
it?
have it all over the city. They have it
Really?
at these places. This bar called Spirit, another place called Cativo, and Cativo is like 2 stories. A bar on each floor, and they have a downstairs stage, and then upstairs they have another stage, and then somewhere like a community center that they treat for like community awareness on heroin and whatnot.
Really?
They'll have shows there, yeah. They'll do punk shows and stuff there, and it's a big community space. It's cool, man. I love
Yeah.
Pittsburgh,
I really like Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did get there.
Pittsburgh is a very special place in my heart. I
Me
love that town.
too. Me too. It's a little mini New York. It's
You totally, and it's like the people there. The people on the East Coast are very real. It seems like it's
very.
very honest and very straight up. It's like I'm not going to sugarcoat bullshit for you.
Nope.
I'm not going
Nope.
to blow smoke up your ass and tell you it's
Nope.
sunshine. I'm going to tell you like it is.
It
You
just
know,
works too.
the West Coast is a little bit, fake on that end. Because I lived in Oakland for a minute too back in the 90s. I helped open a restaurant in Oakland. I was
Really?
living in New York. I quit a job. I helped open a restaurant in Oakland. Well, in San Francisco. Lived in Oakland, but I worked in San Francisco. I was born in Southern California. I like Southern California, but the people in LA were fake as fucks. You
Yeah.
know, not all of them, but some of them are fake. Like they'll be nice to you and then talk shit
But
behind
they're
your back.
not.
I'm like in New York. If they, they'll
No.
talk shit right to your face, dude.
Yeah.
Tell you right there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
just just be straight up, dude. What the fuck, dude?
It saves so much time.
Exactly.
It saves
It's like that way
so
we don't have
much
to fucking
time.
act like to put on a bullshit charade, dude. I ain't got time for that, dude.
By the end of the day, we're both gonna have like 2 extra hours of free time by like
Right?
not just kissing each other's ass.
Right? Right?
Let's just have the conversation already.
Right? It's like let's just have like a straight up conversation,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I like that.
like I'm straight up. I like that. It's a
Yeah.
good it's an honest conversation. And it's a good thing that you go on to cool topics and tangents and whatnot, and that's always cool, man,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Can I
Tell
can I
us.
grab another beverage?
Yes, please. I'll be right back myself.
Awesome.
Okay.
I love your picture right there, your picture
Hello?
of of Central right there.
Oh, are you looking at the picture?
Yeah. So this motel right here on your left hand side where it says motel, it's
Yeah.
now it's what is it, Hotel Zaz or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Now, well, I live directly right behind it.
No shit. Yeah,
No
because that's what
shit.
this is, Carlisle looking east.
And I'm on Carlisle and Copper. Well, I'm on Hermosa and Copper.
That's cool though, like by the firehouse where you when you worked there.
No, well,
Monte
I'm
Vista.
right by Monte Vista, like walking distance, but I'm right where the 7-Eleven is, right there, kind of
Oh
catty
God.
corner behind the 7-Eleven.
Really?
Yeah.
Uh, since we're talking East Coast and West Coast, how do you feel about music history? Punk rock East Coast versus West Coast.
Ooh,
Is
that's
it is
I
there a
love both.
difference? You just like
I love
not
both. I mean,
not a big opinion?
East Coast was it just seemed much more aggressive. But California, the hardcore that came out of California was great, dude. Like that Orange County stuff, all the early stuff, the Adolescence, the Vandals, DI, all that stuff has a sound. You know right away where it's from when you hear it, you know? But I feel the same way about, like, say, DC hardcore. You
Okay.
know that came out of DC the minute you hear it, And it's like, it's just, at that the history, you can tell what hardcore came out of what region in America at that point in time. I'm a big US hardcore fucking nerd. I have all those records. I have them all, the originals. I have the
Really?
Midwest hardcore. I have all the New York hardcore. I have, all that DC hardcore. I have a bunch of Southern California hardcore. I have a bunch of, Septic Death from Boise, Idaho. I have all those records. I have I have a bunch of that history here. Then Phoenix, come on, JFA, the Zany guys, the Sun City Girls, all that stuff out of Phoenix too. That was all great. And the stuff out of Texas back then, the Big Boys, DRI, MDC, the Dicks, Really Red, all that shit to me, fucking come on. I'm like, to me, those there's never going to be another band like, say, the Big Boys. There's never going to be another band like the Minutemen, ever. There's never going to be another band like the Husker Du. Husker Du that was from Minneapolis. That shit was, I remember seeing them here at Bow Wow Records, dude.
Really?
Yes,
That
I
Albuquerque
saw them
punk
at Bow
scene.
Wow.
You
I saw,
facilitated that scene.
I was there. I was like, I saw it. I saw what else did I see? I saw Life Sentence from Chicago at Bow Wow Records. I saw A Cause for Alarm from New York at Bow Wow Records. I saw, and I used to go in there as a kid and buy records and stuff. It was like, that's why I knew that those were the punk rock record stores. Bow Wow and Natural Sound. Back then, you go there, you'll find punk rock records there, dude.
Steve said that Natural Sound was one of the first ones to host shows at their original location. that
Oh, I bet. I
you
bet.
guys used to see shows there.
Yep. And I remember when Bow Wow Records was on Amherst before they moved to Central, and Black Flag played there.
Damn.
Who else? Who else played there? Black Flag played there. I think the Minutemen played there. I know like a bunch of SST bands played there. I think I saw DC3 there. And then I remember some other SST bands playing at like Trumbull Community Center, dude. I remember going to shows up there, which were
Heard that
nuts.
too. How so?
They
Why
were,
were they?
well, that was in Trumbull. That was in the war zone, you
So
know,
what
back
what
then.
would go down?
Dude, I remember we saw Victim's Family up there, right? Victim's Family from the Bay Area. They played there. And I remember Scott Wilder was there. And like some of the Party Viking dudes were there. Me and Carlos were there. We were just kids. They were all, you know, older in their 20s. But all of a sudden, all these homeboys came. All these Cholo dudes came. And they were like, first you heard the whistles. Tweet, tweet, tweet. And they were like, I remember that one of them said something to Scott Wilder, fuck you guys doing here? And I remember Scott Wilder, fuck you. Or he said something back to them. And they left. And then all of a sudden they came
Oh no.
back with a bunch. And they started climbing over the fence. And it was like, I'm leaving. Fuck this, dude. We're going to get jumped, dude. I'm out of here, dude. No, no, no. It was like, no, I'm
Damn.
leaving. I remember me and Carlos left, dude. Let's go, dude.
This
They're
is
going to jump
early
us over.
80s. This is
Yeah, oh
early
yeah,
80s.
early 80s. Yes.
It's prime punk rock time all around America. And
America. All around America. That was prime punk rock time.
and all those bands were stopping in Albuquerque and sleeping on
All of them.
people's couches.
Yep. Like the house parties that I went to as a kid back then in the nursery, I saw the Accused play in the nursery. The Accused came in with full stacks and
Damn.
they played. It was like two bands played. It was one local band, I forget which local band, and then the Accused. And the Accused started playing, and they got halfway through the set, and the police came. APD rolled up just because of the volume. It was so fucking loud, dude. They were rocking that house, dude. And they came in and they were like, the fuck, who's in charge here, dude? Everybody's just all drinking beers, you know? It's a house party, dude. The band was up there all playing in the living room, dude. And they're like, no more. This is
No.
it. We
No.
don't care if you party, but no more of that music, dude, you know? They shut that down. So, but then that show was at night, which I was like, as soon as it got dark, they started playing. And then I remember later on, they would have shows at the nursery, but it was on earlier, you know? And we never had a problem with the police then when there were earlier shows, you know?
I just didn't want you doing it at night. Too loud.
Exactly. And that was weird because it's like, nobody's, you know, right then and there, it was like the post office is closed. Nobody's in there. There's that big, whatever, electrical conduit thing you got across the street. Nobody lives across the street. But on the other side, you did have people that live there. And I could totally get that. I understand that. But during the daytime, like I remember going to shows there like 4 or 5 in the afternoon. I saw Neurosis and Christ on a Crutch there, Blister there, Schism there, and that was all in the beginning of the like 1990, 91, you know.
So that's
And they were
later.
having, yeah, that was later on, you know. But they had shows there then, and nobody never had a problem. And then that little bookstore that was next to the post office is still there. It's a bookstore again, but before it was just it was a bookstore, but they let us have shows in there. I remember. Like
Really?
Scared of Chaka played in there, and some other bands played in there. I remember that too, you know.
What about who played on the ramp at Ray's house in the backyard?
Neurosis played on the ramp. Neurosis played on the ramp at Ray's. No Effects played on the ramp at Ray's. Who else though? He had some other bands play there as well. I think the AGs played there,
What
and
what years were those? Was
Those are
that?
like, I would say, the late 80s,
Yeah.
because I wasn't always there at all those shows because I was in jail as a dumb
Okay.
fuck, you know?
Okay.
But when I was out, I did catch some shows there.
Okay.
I miss him dearly.
I was texting with Dom about how he needed to tell skate stories
Oh, yeah,
on
dude.
this show.
Yeah, because him and his brother were all about that, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. I
That
remember
ramp was incredible that they built.
it's somebody's
There's a
deck
full on
now
half pipe.
in the backyard. And then the band
Yep.
could come and play there.
It was awesome.
Yeah. He was instrumental in bringing a lot of these bands to Albuquerque, wasn't he? People said he used to
Yep.
write letters and stuff.
Yep. He would write letters and whatnot. Because back then, that's how we did it. Nowadays, with the internet, that's how it was done. It was back,
Mhm.
but back then, you actually had, like, I remember ordering records back then. You sent money in the mail, which you shouldn't do, and
No, you weren't supposed to
maybe
do that.
6 months later, you got a record in the mail. Sometimes you didn't,
It's from a
sometimes you.
band.
Exactly, and the band would, and that's how you found out about those. Or you see an ad in a Maximum Rock and Roll, or a Flip Side. You're like, ooh, I want that record. So you send off the money, and then boom, you get a record. I still do that. I love doing that, dude. It's
And sometimes those
I
bands
like.
stop in Albuquerque.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how it's like. Yeah, they're rolling through here, dude. And then you meet them. That's what's cool about punk rock. They're not rock stars, dude.
No,
They may have made it big and whatnot, but those guys are still very down to earth, and they remember their roots where they came from. And that's what's fucking very awesome to me. It's like, yeah, dude, we can hang out and drink beer and shoot the shit. You're not gonna be all pompous and bullshit.
no. And it sounds like you're pro all punk rock music. Punk rock, hardcore. Uh,
And I love hip hop. Wu
that's
Tang is for the children.
really. I can
Fuck yeah!
totally see you and
I lived in
Carlos.
Brooklyn for all that time. I saw all that shit. Wu Tang and all that shit get big there. It was like, that's the shit, dude. Where I lived in Brooklyn, they're bumping that shit all the time. That or the reggaeton. It's like I lived in Dominican or Puerto Rican neighborhoods. What's up?
I can totally see you and Carlos as little hip hop dudes when you're younger, too.
We had the parachute pants, all that shit, dude.
That
We
is
were all
so
in
funny.
breakdancing. I won a breakdancing. I was in a crew, and we won $500 at the state fair
No,
for breakdancing. We were called the Majestic Floor Warriors. I was probably like 12 or so, 12 or 13,
oh
right
my
before I
God.
got into punk rock.
Right before. Okay.
And I can still break dance. I'm old now, but there were times in New York when we'd be out at the punk rock bars, and they'd be like, "I heard you used to break dance." I was like, "Yeah, you want to see me?" They're like, "What can you do?" I was like, "Here, you need to move some tables or move some stuff out of the way, dude." And I could still do the windmills and all that stuff, dude.
Oh,
They're
that's
like, "That's
awesome.
awesome, dude."
That's awesome. I distinctly remember the early 80s like being really entertained by just people breakdancing.
Yeah, break dancing. That shit was awesome. It was like,
Yeah.
this is great, dude.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I remember being here in Albuquerque and I was good at it. And it was like, I remember I beat somebody one time at these apartments down in the North Valley, and the guy was older than me. He got mad and punched me in the face because I beat him. And I was like, that was the whole reason why we do this, so we don't have to do that. And you come over here and punch me. The minute he punched me, everybody that was there was all, oh, what the fuck, dude? He just beat your ass, and that's how you roll? Come on, man. You know?
Then you just became punk rock after that and everybody started fighting.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, you know, I felt I was fighting for a cause.
Did it start that way? Because you were pissed off at the world?
Some of it definitely did. But some of it I felt like people were being bullied. And I was like, nah, dude, that's not right. And I'm not going to stand here and watch it happen.
I do
So
remember
I'm going
that
to do
a
something.
lot
Yeah.
from our youth.
And I did.
Yeah. quite well.
So when this is all done, will you send me a link so I can post it?
Yeah, I'll tag you and all those things. People are gonna love to
Awesome.
see your interview. You're so fun.
Awesome.
You're so fun. What else we talk about? Skateboarding. Did you skate?
I skated, but not like Ray or Dom skated. Those guys were good at it. I couldn't drop in on a half pipe. I would skate the ditches. And I would go skate the ditches with them. And that
Okay.
was fun. But I was always like, after I broke my leg get skateboarding, that kind of fucked me up in the head a little bit. It was like,
Sure. Not as,
kind of
yeah.
like, is something are you gonna hurt yourself here? And don't get me wrong, there were a few times you hurt yourself, but it was like, I'm dropping in on the ditch, you jump up on grind on the block and you fall wrong and you're like, oh, I'm going home. I'm going home, dude. That hurt like fuck, dude. And then I have a huge bruise. I landed right on that parking block, dude. That shit fucking hurt, man.
So I find that when I ask people if they skated, not many of them are like, "Oh yeah, I was really good at it." Most everybody's like, "Yeah, I tried."
Yeah, I tried. And I still have uh Santa Cruz skateboard, Rob Roscop with independent trucks and slime ball wheels. I still have it here. You know, I'm gonna put it up on my wall.
Do you remember, was the skateboarding big? Like people came here to skate Albuquerque?
Oh yeah, I got arrested when at a YMCA up in the Heights when Tony Alva came here
Okay.
and Steve Caballero, and another professional skater came, and we all went. I was with, I think it was Amos, Carlos Aguilar, I think Carlos Montavlo, and we were there. It was pretty big, and they had a ramp set up, and these guys are doing their thing, and we brought beers, right? And I was cracking my beer and I was drinking, and I remember the security guard came, and I was outside drinking, and he's told me something, and I was like, yeah, yeah, whatever. And I climbed over the fence, and I got back in. He went and got the police. Well, called the police, and I remember at that time it had just ended the event, and we were getting in the car to leave, and the cops were coming in, pulling in the driveway, and we were pulling out of the driveway on the other side, but he had to go all through the parking lot, and people were all, they just went that way. And we went,
You
and we drove, and I was like, oh, we lost him. And sure enough, you can't outrun a radio. And that cop came from, and another cop came from, and they caught us and they arrested me.
okay then? So that's your
Yes.
skate
I
history?
also had some choice words for that security guard when we were
Yeah.
leaving.
Yeah. That's your skate history in Albuquerque. You got
Yeah.
arrested.
But they did have like events like that. And then I remember at the beach zone, they would have stuff there too every now and then.
That was kind of like the beginning, the whole Vans Warped Tour came from that sort of stuff.
Yep. Yep. Totally. Totally. That's funny. The Warp Tour is like my buddy Mike Bobroff from here, roadieing for Bad Religion. And he called me in New York when I was living in New York. He's all, hey, I'm in town. It'll be awesome to see you. I was all, yeah, what's up? He's all, I'm with the Warp Tour. And I was all, oh yeah, I saw that's happening. He's all, if you come down, I'll give you tickets and whatnot. I'll just give him your name at the door because it was on Randall's Island in between Manhattan and Brooklyn. So it's
Damn.
like, cool. Me and my wife went, and I just said my name. Boom. Here's your backstage pass. They
Wow.
gave me they gave
Wow.
me a pair of Vans. Here's your backstage. I was looking around, so I got to see like the Damned and everything. It was all because of Mike
Wow.
Bobroff from here. It was awesome, dude. I was up on the stage watching the show, dude.
All
So
those
that was
people were
awesome.
proud of you for a long time.
Oh
I
yeah,
was,
because it
yeah.
was like even people from here. that would come to New York,
They
yeah,
go
I'd be
looking
like,
for
yo,
you.
you're hit me up, hit me up. You know, I got you. Whatever. You know, oh, if their band was playing, I'd be like, I got you. Like I would see word salad from here would go to in New York. I'd be out there playing CBs. I'm going. I'll see you
Oh my
guys.
gosh,
I'll be there.
that's so
It was
cool for
awesome. So it
you.
was like, yeah, it was so cool. It was like, yeah, these are my boys. You know,
Do you have any thoughts on Albuquerque punk rock? Some of those old bands.
Jerry's Kids. They should release their demo. I know they have a demo called Counting Calories. I have the records, the first 7 inch, but I know there's a demo of Counting Calories, and I heard it back then. I would love to hear it on vinyl. Someone should release that. You know, that's what I that's that band to me is like I just did a podcast for this thing called What Are You Listening To, right? And
Hmm.
it's record nerds talking about punk rock records and whatnot. And you pick 5 records and you talk about them. And I
Nice.
picked the first record was Jerry's Kids. I grew up with this. A buddy of mine gave me this record back then. I still have it to this day, you know. And Jamie Trujillo did the artwork for it. Jamie Trujillo tattooed me when I was 14 here in Albuquerque.
Yeah, yeah. He knows he has to
It
tell the
was,
story too.
yes. So it's like, I know the artist.
Yeah,
I have art from him on. Jamie's still around, you know. He lives in
yeah.
Seattle, but he's still around, you
Oh
know.
yeah,
We're still friends on Instagram and everything, you know.
yeah.
So it's cool. It's very cool. And my buddy Jesse just did like a show here down at this place called Ren's Den on 4th Street not too long ago. And he asked Jamie Trujillo to do the flyer art for it, and Jamie did the flyer art for it.
Really,
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
It's great
So it was
art, and
fucking,
he's a really nice man. I like Gene.
yeah. He's a fucking really stand-up guy, man.
Yeah,
Solid guy.
yeah. I've been asking him to tell this story because people are asking me or telling me that he did the artwork for that. I'm like, dude, you need to
Oh,
come
he
on the
did the
show and
artwork for
tell
so
us.
for so much, for
Really,
so much. A lot of
everything.
the flyers, for a lot. I have a box full of old flyers
Really,
here, sitting in
that's
my
cool.
closet from
That's
back in the
cool.
'80s. Yeah, and a lot of the artwork was Jamie Trujillo.
He's
That's
such a
why I
good
kept
guy.
those flyers. I'm like, that artwork is fucking awesome, dude. And then in a box somewhere in my mom's house, I have another box. Like he did these comic books Jamie did, and he did these postcards that came in sets. And I bought the sets at Bow Wow Records when they were on Amherst back then in the 80s. And I have them in a box at my mom's house, you know? And it's all, you know, they're prints, but it was like, I liked it just for the art, you know? I bought it was creepy
Yeah,
artwork.
yeah,
That and R.K. Sloan art, you know?
yeah. Just an amazing artist. Where was Jamie your first tattoo?
Jamie was probably my third tattoo. My first
Okay,
was Ed, Big
okay,
Ed,
okay.
and then Jamie, and then more Ed, and then Dano, and Leo, and Marty, Ray Cedillo, and then I got some stuff from Paul Booth in New York, and I got some other stuff from a good buddy of mine, Matt, in New York. So, and then some stuff in California when I was there. So I've been tattooed on both coasts and in between. So I'm running out of room.
I was gonna say, have you finished your projects yet, or still lots you'd like
Not
to do?
yet. I still have a few more I want to get, but you know, and then I have some stuff I want to finish up, but unfortunately they're no longer here anymore. But I think I know a person I could talk to that knows the same person and whatnot who could finish that work for me.
Well, you are in the best place. You got a lot of tattoo artists
Oh yeah.
right
Oh yeah.
there, and their
Oh
family.
yeah.
Family.
Oh yeah. Exactly. It's like
Hmm.
we know each other, brother. Come on.
Hmm. Albuquerque punk rock tattoos, skateboarding, crime,
All that.
violence.
It was just, you know, Albuquerque's it's a special place, you know. I've had my ups and downs here. I like it, you know. It's when I was younger, I really wanted to get the fuck out of here. I did, you know. Now that I'm back, I'm like, It's cool, dude. You know, it's for that point in my life, I needed a change. You know what I'm saying? And it was the kind of change that I needed. What I needed, I wanted to go to New York and cook my ass off, and get my ass handed to me there, but work in some of the best kitchens, and I did, and I learned a hell of a lot, and I was humbled a lot, and it was just like I got to meet so many interesting people from all over, and even just working in the kitchens, period, across this country. I've met so many people from all over the world that it's just, dude, it's like we could have an Algonquin roundtable discussion in the back of a kitchen, dude, with all the people who work there and all from all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
Brilliant minds. I
Yeah,
just think
exactly.
there's so many people out there that have so much brilliant information in their heads. I want to record it. I can't help myself.
Yep.
Like
And then
knowledge should
it
be
was just
preserved.
cool to learn about other people's cultures, working in kitchens with them and everything like that.
Yeah, no
It was like,
kidding.
yes, it's
I
like this is fucking cool.
I would think you really love New York, especially Brooklyn.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I love Brooklyn.
That would be fun for you. That's a
Oh,
perfect
it was
place
so
for you to
fun.
go.
It was, yeah, it was perfect for me. It was like, yeah, dude, you will do well here, and I did. I did very well there. I was like, yeah, dude, and I still miss that pace.
Yeah,
I'm
but
older, and
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
my body hurts, and it's like, but
yeah,
it's
yeah,
still like I still have that drive. Like, come on, come on,
yeah,
come on, let's do
yeah.
this. I
Well, you
still
always
cook like
have.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you've
and it's
always
like
been that way.
I can't shut that off. It's like that's just part of who I am.
Yeah, that's great. Is there anything else we missed?
That's good. I'm good.
That was
It's been a
really
pleasure,
fun.
and it's been really awesome talking about that.
Thanks. It was really fun. Thanks for spending your Saturday night with me. We'll do it again.
Birthday here with
It
you.
is your
It was
birthday.
all good.
Well, I meant to say
Yeah,
that earlier.
it's all good, dude. I'm gonna go after this. I'm gonna go get another beer and hang out and smoke a joint, and then I'm gonna
Yes.
chill and eat some food. And
Yes.
I gotta work tomorrow, so I'm gonna take it easy for the rest of the night.
Well, it was very
And
fun
I'm gonna
Saturday
listen to
night.
some punk rock here in a minute.
Well, think of more stories, more
Yeah, if
music
you want me back
advice,
another time, we could
ideas.
talk about my adventures in New York. That's a whole nother
That'd be fun.
thing, dude.
That'll be fun.
Yeah,
Congratulations, sir. You should be extremely proud of yourself. All of your friends are very, very proud of you. Happy birthday.
thank you. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Yes,
Have a
sir.
great night.
You too. Talk again.
Bye.
Bye.
For sure.
Yeah.